And that's how my client was able to know that they could get approved for 2 car loans at the same time because they were upside down on that other car, and that way they could get that other car that they wanted. Welcome back, my credit fiends. Today we're going to be going over how you, yes, you can get a car loan. This is the best way to go ahead and go about getting that car loan, because I'm telling you right now, if you walk up in that dealership, you are going to get ripped apart, because these dealerships are trained in order to get the best rate for themselves. Yeah, I said it, for themselves, not for you, because there's secrets behind the scenes that you don't necessarily know about, just walking in and not doing any type of research and just saying, hey, I want that car. They're going to use a lot of tactics against you whenever you walk in there like that. So I'm going to be going over just exactly what type of tactics they're going to try and use against you, how you can combat those techniques that they use, and the best way to go about walking in that dealership so that way you look like you are all put together and they're not going to be able to touch you. Let's get straight into this video. So when you first walk up in that dealership, you already know they're going to be hounding you as soon as you step foot in that parking lot. I mean, if you look like you got some money, especially. But if they're trying to make a sale, they're going to come out and they're going to be hounding you. You already know that's the first thing that they do. And they're going to try and use some emotional stuff. They're going to start asking you like, oh, what are you shopping for? Blah, blah, blah. Ask you those questions. They're trying to get to know you a little bit so that way they can try to build a little bit of trust with you so you feel like you trust them and stuff. And then they're going to start hitting you with that emotional stuff like, hey, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, are you getting this for the wifey or blah, blah, blah? Like, oh, yeah, they would love this car. Or, yeah, you would love this car. Let me show you it. Blah, blah, blah. Let's get you on a test drive. Let's get those emotions going, you know, because once you get in and you get a test drive, you're like, oh, this thing's whipping right now. Blah, blah, blah. Like, I really like this. So that's what they want. They want you to get emotionally attached to that vehicle before you even get into it. So once they get you emotionally attached to that, then they're going to be like, okay, let me come in, let me get some information about you. Or they might try to get your information first before the test drive, because sometimes they do. I mean, they need like your license and stuff. But like, as far as all the extra information, like employment information and things like that, just depends on how they're doing it. But more than likely, they're going to try and get all your information after that test drive because you're already emotionally charged about the car. So then once they get your information, then they're going to start trying to ask you, oh, what about financing? Or like, how are you planning on doing this? And blah, 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 blah. And they're going to try and get you to run your credit. A lot of the times they're going to try and like sneak this in and you're not necessarily going to know, but they need your permission to go ahead and run that credit. So don't let them run your credit just right off the bat, because as soon as you start giving them your information and they start running through their creditors, they're going to try and find that best rate that suits them. They're going to try and see how much money can I get from this person, because whenever you go in there and you're using financing versus cash, they're making a lot more money on the back end because they used you to get financing through their partner bank. So that partner bank is going to be paying them the little side money. So they're going to be making more if you use financing versus cash. That's why cash buyers normally have the upper hand whenever it comes into negotiations and things like that. Now they are going to try to negotiate with you and be like, oh, what range would this suit you, would best suit you? They're going to bring out like a little paper like, oh, would you like to make these type of payments? Would you like to make these type of payments? So they're going to seem like they're trying to do it for your best interest, but really they're going to be making that money off of the interest that you're paying. If you want a longer loan, meaning that you don't want to be paying as much monthly, they're going to be making even more because that interest rate is going to go higher. You're going to be paying way more in interest than if you just went ahead and did the shorter loan, or if you paid in cash, which I don't really recommend that you pay in cash depending on the amount of the car, because the interest rates could be so low that it just doesn't make sense. It makes better sense to have that money in your pocket for other opportunities that you can use to leverage or whatever the case is. Then also, once they get your information and they do everything and they go over the numbers and stuff and you start going through the back, once you go to the back with the finance person, they are going to try to get you again. It doesn't stop at the first steps. It keeps going. Then they're going to try and get you with that premium air. They're going to try and sell you car mats and different protections and Oh, don't forget, if you're doing Uber or Lyft, what they tried to get me with, oh, we're gonna put this magic stuff over your seats and all over everything, so that way if someone spills something, then it's waterproof. But they're gonna be charging you a lot more than if you just went ahead and either did it yourself or went somewhere else and got that done. So when they take you into the back with the finance manager, don't be scared or nothing, because they're really gonna be trying to hit you. Now, I'm not saying don't get gap insurance, because what gap insurance does is if the car is totaled or something like that, something happens to the car, the insurance is only going to pay up to what the car is worth. They're not going to pay up to what you owe on the car. So let's say you owe $20,000 on the car, but the car is only worth $15,000 after something happens, then the gap insurance kind of kicks in. So that's the only reason really, unless I'm missing something, because I've had about 5 or more cars. The only thing that you should be going back there for is for the gap insurance if it's available for you, or if it's a used car and you want to get that extra little warranty, because they do sell warranties after that, then you can do that. Because when you go to sell the car, then you can get the prorated amount if you didn't use up the full warranty amount. Because that's what happened to me whenever I went to go trade in my car. I went and called the people, hey, I didn't use all of this warranty, and they went ahead and reimbursed me, and that made me break even on the car whenever I went to go trade it in. What you want to do whenever you are trying to go and get that car is you want to come in with your own pre-approval. You want to come in knowing exactly how much you are pre-approved for. I'm going to be going over the banks and the credit unions that are available to give you a pre-approval on that auto loan, so that way you can go in there with your own financing. That's the best thing that you want to do. When you come in there with your own financing, they are automatically going to know that you are about no games. You already know exactly what you're in there for, how much you can afford. They're not going to be trying to stretch you on the interest or trying to stretch as much money as they can get out of you. And these right here are the places that you can go to in order to get those pre-approvals. The very first one that we have right here that will give you a pre-approval if you like to shop online and get your car delivered is Carvana. Now, I used to be invested in this whenever this thing was at like $7 a share, and this thing shot up. So I was definitely right about Carvana coming back, as well as Dave & Buster's whenever the whole pandemic thing happened. But if you go on their website, you can already see that you will get pre-approved for an auto loan in just 2 minutes. Now, they make that sound real good. All you have to do is click the get pre-qualified, and there will be no impact to your score. This is the best way to do it, because when you go in there, they're going to be running your credit like crazy, especially if you don't have the best credit. And they're going to be running that thing over 5+ different banks. Now, this isn't going to hurt your score as much because they know that you are shopping for a car, and they normally give you about like 2 weeks to 30 days or so to go ahead and shop around for that car. However, they are going to run your credit, and you're going to see mad increase pop up on your credit profile. And that's not necessarily what you want, because you just want to go in there with already a pre-qualification, so that way you know exactly what you can and can't afford. We got Carvana right here, and they make financing easy. All you have to do is hit the pre-qualification, and you'll see whether you pre-qualify or not. And they will drop the car off to you. That's the best part about it. The next one that I have here for you guys is Capital One. Capital One has their own thing where you can go and search for cars through them. I'm pretty sure they are also on Car Gurus too. So if you're searching through Car Gurus, then Capital One should pop up as a pre-qualification. However, you can go to their website, and you can go and you can search through their brands and see what kind of cars they have to offer you, and you can get pre-qualified through Capital One, no impact to your score. The next one that will be pre-qualifying you today is Bank of America. I don't have any personal experience with Bank of America. I've heard good and bad things about them, mainly bad things about them. They will pre-qualify you to see how much you can borrow for that car before you even go into there, with no impact to your score. They will estimate your payments, and you can go ahead and see exactly how much you would be paying monthly and what your interest rate would be, of course, right? The next one is CarMax. CarMax, now you can go in person, but it's better to go online and do this pre-qualification, because you will get the financing results without impacting your score. You can go to their website, as you can see, and you can scroll through and see exactly how much you can afford. And they also have a car payment calculator. That way, before you even go on here and get pre-qualified, you can see what your target price is, how much you would put as a down payment, your state. My favorite credit union of all, Navy Federal. Their auto loan pre-approval process is probably one of the best because they are a credit union and they do look out for their members. I love Navy Federal. They definitely are number one out of all my creditors. This is my top favorite pick. So if you do have Navy Federal, I would recommend that you go through them for a car loan pre-approval. US Bank, I have no type of experience with US Bank. However, they do have a nice credit card, but it does have an annual fee. If you go check out my cashback credit card video, you will see that US Bank is on there. Now their card is pretty nice. However, they do have that annual fee. So they will give you 6% back on 2 different store locations. And I'm pretty sure one of them on there is Walmart and Amazon. Therefore, I do like them for that reason. US Bank will give you that pre-approval for that car loan so you can go in there with confidence. Last but not least, and one of the credit unions that I have yet to get access to is PenFed. I've heard a lot of good things about PenFed, especially coming up in the credit world and doing my research on credit cards and just everything within credit. PenFed is definitely a great credit union if you cannot get into Navy Federal or USAA. USAA also does car loans as well. PenFed Credit Union will give you a pre-qualification, and you can see that they do have rates as low as 4%. Credit unions are normally the best way to go whenever it comes to any type of financing because they are for the people. They are not necessarily for profit like a lot of these banks are. Credit unions are for the community. So anything that they do is to give back to the community. And that's the reason why a lot of these credit unions, in order for you to join, you have to give some type of donation whenever you are first starting out because, like I said, they're for the community. This is the better option to go through. Also, I did a video about being upside down on a car loan and I went over the DCU credit union. That's also another credit union that you can go through. It's digital credit union. And that's how my client was able to know that they could get approved for 2 car loans at the same time because they were upside down on that other car, and that way they could get that other car that they wanted even though they were upside down on their previous car loan, so that way they could have 2 cars. And DCU was able to do that. And that's what I mean about credit unions. If you get in good with them, go ahead and build a relationship with them for 3 to 6 months and then see what they can offer you. All in all, this is the best way to go ahead and get that car loan that you are looking for. Go ahead and go in there with that pre-approval so that way they are not trying to stretch you on the payments or they're not trying to stretch you out on your interest rate, so that way they can go ahead and make more money off of you and you go in there knowing exactly what you're talking about. So that way when you go into that financing room, they're less likely to hound you to try and get all of these types of things out of you. Now, I could be wrong. They could be trying to hound you even more because now you came in with your own financing and they want to get more money out of you. So they might try to hound you even more when you go back to that financing room. But I just told you, they're going to be trying to give you premium air. What's premium air? We don't need premium air in our tires. That's not real. So just be on the lookout for that. These car dealerships, they are for profit. They're trying to get anything and anything out of anyone because let's just face it, the times that we're in today are uncertain. So they're trying to get the best money that they can get out of every single person because it's uncertain. Like I said, interest rates have been staying up. There's less people probably out buying cars. And especially around this time when people are getting their taxes out, they know that you got that bag. They know that you got that money. Therefore, just be careful out there. Go ahead and go in with your own pre-approvals. This is how you do it. This is the best way to go in there, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. We fiending for that credit.